Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Announce for the record that we are live via YouTube.
Thanks so much, and we
appreciate your patience at this point in time. We are set and we're ready. And of course, we're not only here in person, but we're also live via our YouTube channel. And so we'd like to thank all of those who are attending with us by way of the YouTube. And if you have any questions or comments, we ask that I think there's an option that allows you to raise your hand. You'll be acknowledged if you have any comments as we can go through the process. Thank you so much. And at this time, we're going to have a roll call, please. And we'll call the Town of Magonia Park Railroad Council meeting of September 15, 2020 into session. Roll call, please.
Here.
Here.
Councilmember McConnell.
Here.
Here.
Councilmember Green. And Councilmember
Here.
Here. Thank you so much. We do have a quorum at this time. Let us stand for our invocation, please.
Most kind and gracious Father,
Most kind and gracious Father, we thank you so much for all the opportunities that you've given us to come into act on behalf of those that we've been elected and appointed to serve. We pray and ask that all things said and done will be pleasing to thee, and that we would advance the cause of those to whom we are here to serve. We ask that you continue to be with us. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge of
I'll pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. May be seated.
Thank you so much. You may be seated.
At this time, we'll attend
At this time, we'll attend to our agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or substitutions to the agenda?
Seeing that there is no
Seeing that there is no additions, deletions, or substitution, is there a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
Mike.
It has been moved.
It has been moved. It has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. It is carried. And of course, just by way of procedure, we have items that might be annotated. We have no items for the consent agenda for tonight that have been previously submitted. But if there's any items to be considered for the consent agenda, we'll entertain those now.
Any items
for the consent agenda?
Seeing that there are none.
Seeing that there are none, we'll move on to our agenda. And if you follow along with us, our next item is item 4. And this, of course, is our proclamations and presentations. I think we do have a presentation, so at this time, we're going to invite our planner, Nilsa.
The microphone working? Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members.
Good evening.
Denise and I are very happy to be here this evening for the adoption hearing of the comprehensive plan yield-based amendment. It has been a long process, but a very rewarding one. And I just want to, before we start the presentation, I want to mention that when we started contemplating to start this project, we prepared this. We prepared a roadmap, a timeline that I want to share with each of you.
You're not doing a presentation, right? Yeah. If we could, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry for the confusion. We're at 4. Nilsa's here to present on item 6A. So we just skipped ahead a little bit. If we could go back to 4. I don't believe there are any presentations other than agenda item 6A.
Just a correction. It was just brought to our attention that we are actually going to be adopting, this would be the second reading, amending the year. And so we do have the adoption under 6A. So what we will do at this time is we will attend to item 5. If there's any public kind of legal city, feel free to remain.
Just very briefly, Mayor and Council. I gave you the date at your last meeting. The general membership meeting for the league is next week on the 23rd. The presentation may be of interest to you, so I wanted to bring that to you tonight. It's being done by conference call. Again, it starts at 12 noon for the general membership meeting next week on the 23rd. Presentation is state of tourism in the county. How does it affect your city? And it's being given recommendation by Jorge Pesquera. He's the CEO of Discover Palm Beach. Discover the Palm Beaches, rather. And then the second one I just saw today, just if any of you still need your 4-hour ethics training, the League of Cities has a new date for ethics training. It's October 14th. I'll send, when I get back to the office, I'll send Manager Metcalf a link for registration in the event that you need that, but I wanted to get that on your calendars as well. And that's it, thank you.
Much, and of course,
Thank you so much, and of course, that will be virtual.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks so much. We do appreciate it. Are there any questions or comments for our attorney relative to the Palm Beach County League of Cities?
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We
So at this
appreciate
time,
it.
we're gonna move
So at
on
this
our-
time, we're going to move on our agenda if you're following along. Our next item, and just before we do, we'd like to acknowledge that Vice Mayor Johnson is on the dais. We will now go to item 6A, and this is, of course, ordinance number 2020-02. This is, of course, the second reading, amending the town's comprehensive plan to adopt evaluation appraiser. Are they here? Mitty?
Sure, Mr. Mayor. Sure, Mr. Mayor. Before Nilsa gives her presentation, I'll just read it by title as is required on second reading. As you said, this is ordinance 2020-02. It's an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Mangonia Park, Florida, amending its comprehensive plan to adopt evaluation and appraisal review year-based amendments pursuant to section 163.3191 Florida statutes, which provides for an evaluation and for plan amendments determined to be necessary, which includes revised text and maps necessary to update the data and analysis of the comprehensive plan, providing that the text and maps as amended or revised shall be substituted for and replace in full the existing text and maps and all amended elements, providing for transmittal to the State Land Planning Agency, providing a conflict clause, a severability clause, providing an effective date, and for other purposes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I heard it about title, and of course, we do have comment on the ordinance. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have that now, first and foremost, from our planner. If there's any comment on that, we'll entertain that as well prior to the motion. Yes, Nilsa, you may proceed.
We had a presentation, a summary, with regard to this loan process. As I just mentioned, when we started considering this process, we, in January 2019, we put together this timeline, this roadmap. It was going to be a long project, so before we start, we always want to know where are we planning and where are we going. So this was our roadmap, and then throughout this process, we started, I don't know if you recall, last year in April, we sent a letter to DEO saying that, yes, the town of Mangonia Park would like to update their comprehensive plan through the evaluation and appraisal process, the year-based. So just, the first slide is showing how many workshops we had through this process. We had, the first one was March 2019. Then the second workshop was in December 2019. And the third workshop was in January 2020. Throughout those workshops, we provided draft documents and we provided opportunity to ask questions and clarify, and we always updated where we were in the process. So also the transmittal hearing was in February 2020. There were two hearings, the LPA hearing and the council hearing. Both of them were in February 2020. After the transmittal hearing, we, as you know, the process, the state sent a letter, the objection, recommendation, and comments report. We received the report, and the town received the report from the state on May 2020. So we are happy to comment here that the state did not find any objections, and also they did not provide a recommendation. No objection and no recommendation. The state provided one comment, and we will go through that comment. So this hearing tonight is the adoption hearing. So, and this is September 15, 2020, and then we will talk about what are the next steps later on. So, as I mentioned, we are really thrilled that the state did not provide objections and recommendations. So, I would like to point it out one comment that the state provided. That comment is specifically with, and I want to read it into the record. Comment number 1, the 5-year schedule of capital improvements, CIE schedule. So, per Florida statutes, every local government is required to submit once a year the capital improvement schedule. And it's usually done with the budget. It can be transmitted as an ordinance. So, we prepare. So, for everybody, what are they, with regard to the capital improvement, what is the Florida statute requirement?
Thank you.
Thank you. Be careful.
So, this is part of Florida statute. Once a year, every local government is required to adopt the capital improvement and then also to to transmit as a corrective to the state. So basically, this comment from the state is saying, but also it's important to say that the actions the town could take to resolve issues of concern. Comments are offered to assist the local government and will not form the basis for a compliance determination. So it's a comment, it's not an objection, and it's not even a recommendation. So, but we think that from now on, it will be interesting, important that the town once a year adopt a capital improvement schedule, a 5 years. So since the state already mentioned this. So as just a very quick summary, we just wanted to restate what we have done previously. What is the comprehensive plan and why is it important? We already mentioned that the comprehensive plan is a requirement from Florida Statute Chapter 163. So all local governments, counties, and municipalities, they must adopt this comprehensive plan. So the Department of Economic Opportunity, which is the state land agency, they review this document. So, and they are responsible for guiding the state's growth and development. When I think about the comprehensive plan, I'm a graphic-oriented person, so it's the foundation of this town. It's what is based on all the upcoming projects. So you have then above the foundation, you have your LDR, your zoning code. The zoning code is built upon the comprehensive plan. And then you have your site plan. When an applicant arrives here, knock, Magnolia Park, I want to build something. They are actually, they need to comply with your zoning code. And at the same time, they need to comply with your comprehensive plan. So, in another graphic, basically, you have your site plan, your LDR, or zoning code, and then you have your comprehensive plan. So, the Florida statutes give an opportunity every 7 years to all the local governments to look closely what is this is your existing comprehensive plan. The one that is, until we don't adopt the new one, this is what is, you have to go through. So every 7 years, the state gives an opportunity to say, okay, your comprehensive plan is still up to date. So basically the opportunity is to revise this book and see if it's still up to date with the community's vision and objectives. If there are changing conditions that need to be updated in the compliance, and there is a trend affecting the community, and changes in the state requirements. So every 7 years. So I commend the town for taking this opportunity and saying, yes, we are going to update our comprehensive plan. So the comprehensive plan has a number of chapters or elements. So it's the future land use elements, transportation, housing, infrastructure, conservation, recreation and open space, intergovernmental coordination, and capital improvement. So the comprehensive plan, and this is the book that we prepared for you back in January. I call it the purple book. That's what we call it in the office. Do you see the purple book? Yes. So this is the book, and the comprehensive plan has two parts. The goals, objectives, and policies, which is actually the comprehensive plan, and then have the data and analysis that we prepare. So there are two parts of the book. So now we just would like to summarize how important it is to comprehend what is the strategic location of the town of Mangonia Park. So from the beginning, we use the jewelry box. Mangonia Park, because it's all surrounded by other municipalities, it really reminds us as a jewelry box. And it's important to recognize that the strategic location in Palm Beach County. There are no other municipalities with the potential as Mangonia Park that's so close to I-95, close to the ocean, that is strategically located. It's close to I-95, 45th Street, and then the tri-rail. I mean, this town has a tri-rail station. Not many towns can say that they do have that. Jupiter wishes to have a tri-rail station. We don't have, I live in Jupiter. So, part of the comprehensive plan is we put together the land use map. The existing book, it has one, but it's in black and white, and then we place the map with some colors and show exactly what are the land uses. If you look at just between this map and this the graphic, you can see that 49% is industrial land use. That's so important to recognize. What are the land uses that you have in town? So, as the graphic shows, 49% is industrial, and then you can see also commercial, the commercial flex. You can see the commercial. One second. It's very funky with the map. So commercial flex is 12%. Commercial alone is 18%. Then you have utility and transportation 4%. Recreation and open space 1%. Residential. The residential high density 4%. The residential low density is 11%, and municipal is just 1%. But the graphic is very clear. Most of your land, 49%, is industrial. So it's important to pay attention to that. Then also, as part of your comprehensive plan, we determine how much land is still vacant in the town. Well, this table shows very clearly that there are 54.24 acres of vacant land, which is 13.36%. And then we ask ourselves, well, what can that be? How can that be developed? So the table shows that 4.31 is commercial land that is vacant. Then you have 5.77 industrial land, and residential, please take a look, is only 3.29% of your land is residential, vacant land is residential. So these are important facts to take into consideration for future vision policies that you might take into account. So with regard to the future land use, we always talk about the diversification of land uses, encouraging mixed-use projects, like you have that large tract of land by the tri-rail. And then if you say, these are some of the specific goals and policies that we amended into the comprehensive plan. Everything that is underlined is new text that has been already reviewed by the state. So the goal number one is to provide for the sustainable development and redevelopment of suitable and compatible land uses, which will preserve, enhance, and promote a strong sense of community. These were words that we thought about it, and we think that that's what is the identity of the town of Mangonia Park. So also ensure that public facilities and that it meets the adopted level of service and are provided concurrent with development impact. Again, with the existing comprehensive plan didn't say it very clearly. So we wanted to put it very clearly there that the level of service, every development that applies to the town needs to comply with the development, with the level of service. So in every project, we also look at what is the land use, what is the transportation, and the housing. All of these three elements, they need to click. So, and just think about it. Look at the project that you have in your hands, the enclave at Mangonia. Why is here located? Because there is the transportation for all those homes. It's perfect. It's close to I-95. So the housing, housing, transportation, and land use, they go together. And the most important thing is they contribute to the quality of life. If you live someplace, you need to get to your place of work. You need roads, you need transportation. So that's what is important about these three elements. Another objective policy that we are including in this comprehensive plan is about the urban forestry. Basically, what we are saying is we are asking developers to plant more trees when they come to the town. Trees are important for the character, for the value of the property. So, and we are creating a specific text. The town shall consider its trees as infrastructure to preserve and protect them as community assets. We are calling the trees assets because they will impact the property values. So we also say the town shall protect and support its urban forestry to care and manage its tree population for the purpose of maintaining and enhancing the urban environment and the character of the town. So, and I know that this council truly cares about the landscaping, truly cares about the trees. So we put more text specific on the comprehensive plan. So, and this is just a photo, a vision. That says the town shall encourage additional planting of trees to strengthen the character and aesthetic of these residential neighborhoods and commercial areas. So these are the things that when a developer arrives to town, if we have this text, this language on the comprehensive plan, I can assign it. Well, per the comprehensive plan, please, sir, you need to provide, A, B, and C. So now I will pass it.
Good evening. For the record, Denise Moran with NC Consultants. I was just going to continue on with what Melissa was talking about. The other element that we had some updates to was the transportation element. And specifically, we did receive some comments from the Florida Department of Transportation, and we looked at those very closely and incorporated some of those changes into the goals, objectives, and policies since you last saw the text back with the transmittal hearing. So just in part, we really looked at this whole concept of mixed use with our commercial and residential developments and with the redevelopment projects to really look at it not only in terms of uses and connectivity, but also with people, the mobility in the community with multiple modes of transportation and the connections with those. So you'll see that there are additional policies that we've added, or I should say enhanced. There's only a couple that are new policies. In addition, there are policies in the transportation element to continue to increase bicycle paths and sidewalks, again, to make those connections, to get people to get out and about and to go where they need to go. To connect not only residential areas, but also with the other uses such as industrial and commercial areas, and providing those opportunities, which all lead to quality of life. In addition, we have policies that talk about when there is development or redevelopment, that it's done at a pedestrian scale environment, especially again providing for mixture of uses, and we also know for land uses. In addition, there's the transportation network that we're going to incorporate, so there are some policies that talk about integrating transit stops, bicycle and sidewalk connections, again to connect, all about connectivity in that transportation network, whatever the uses. The concept of complete streets has been around for quite some time. You guys endorsed that. Policy talks about wanting to, again, address the needs of all users, provide for the opportunities to meet those needs for those users. In addition, there's policies that were updated in the housing element. It's of interest that the housing stock here in New Government Park, 72% of it are in multiple apartment, multifamily type uses, with 28% being in single family. And in addition to that, there are some policies looking to diversify the housing stock. So there's the policy of looking at market-based housing and to encourage that. In addition to redeveloping the areas, other housing areas and opportunities. In addition, also to through code enforcement to look at and to keep up the housing stock and the areas around it. All of that, of course, as you guys are familiar with, adds to the community. Of the housing stock, 75% are renter occupied, 25% are owner occupied. So in that also kind of ties into some of the code enforcement and items and issues that are typically seen with the makeup of the housing stock with ownership. In addition, we've added some objectives that talk about keeping and improving residential conditions where they're needed and providing for opportunities for housing of all types, for not only existing residents to be able to age in place, but also anticipated future residents that are looking to move into the park. And then also encouraging architectural design that complements the content and the appearance of the vision.
Specifically with regard to this previous one, when we talk about the character of the community, we consider that was important to include a policy that refers to the design, to the urban character. So encourage architecture design that complements the town appearance and considers the objectives of all facilities and services provided by the town. So that will provide more substance when we get an applicant. We can quote this section of the comprehensive plan that design, architectural design, it is important. So that's where we can put our hat on it.
And then in addition, in regards to recreation and open space, included a policy that any development should really provide for their fair share of recreation and open space opportunities. Not just that provided by the town, which is the beautiful park and the plans that are associated with that, but also those private opportunities so that it gives more opportunities for residents at large to meet the needs that they have in those spaces. In addition, we talked about new development again, providing for the sufficient amount of open space recreation to meet their user needs specifically.
And I would like to add also on that with regard to the enclave at Mangonia, you will see when next week when we talk about the master land use plan, we asked the developer to provide a neighborhood park because there was room there on the neighborhood. So it was very specific because we were already putting together, the site plan and the comprehensive plan. So the next time another developer arrives, we can quote this section and say, per our comprehensive plan, please provide a neighborhood park. So I'm very happy also to say that the enclave provided a neighborhood park after we requested.
Those are important amenities, to be met at the neighborhood level, right within their neighborhood. In addition, there were some changes to the utility element. We did receive some comments from the South Florida Water Management District. One had to do with the year-round mandatory irrigation provisions that you guys actually adopted through ordinance. So we did recognize that, and we are fully in compliance with that. So you'll see there's policies that have been updated since transmittal and today's adoption here regarding that. In addition, and David and I were working hand in hand closely with the district. We received comments from the district about our adopted level of service for potable water. We had 151 gallons per capita per day in the comprehensive plan. The previous water supply plan went to change that to 168. We have changed it since, so we were following suit with 168. That's what we saw at transmittal. We have changed that since transmittal, and what you see today is 176 gallons per capita per day, because that's the number that we utilized in the water supply plan that you adopted, and that's the number that the South Florida Water Management District uses. And so the best available data at this time brings us to that adopted level of service. David is in the process of looking at and analyzing data for potable water with all of the improvements that have been taking place with metering and whatnot. The numbers are more accurate now. That's what's been reported in the past. So he's looking and analyzing at really what is the usage so that we can reassess this number, this level of service number. But for now, we talked with the district and they are on board and would like for us to be consistent with our water supply plan and with their number. So tonight we're seeing 176 and we feel confident and comfortable with that. Again, at such time as the data may say something different, we'll have that data and analysis behind us and we can come back before you to look at it, to change it if necessary. And David is leading that effort. So in addition, May of 2020, there are supply plans, so it's referencing the specific ordinance that will adopt the water supply plan. And then the next steps, you want to do okay. So we're here at the adoption hearing. The next step for this would be for you to make a decision on it this evening. If that is to approve adoption, we will send it up to the state Department of Economic Opportunity, who has their last look at it, and will issue a notice of intent to find it in compliance with the United States, compliance with the state. So it's really a formality in the process at this point. After there's the period of somebody wanting to challenge it, if there is no challenge, then the amendments go into effect. So that's what we would be anticipating. We did not receive any objections or recommendation as Nancy indicated. So with the plan before you tonight, we anticipate that it would go through the DEO review process, be issued a notice of intent to find it in compliance, go through the 30-day waiting period, and then it will be in effect.
So moving forward, it's always something more. Moving forward, we just want to recognize that this town is has a vibrancy, it's a vibrant community spirit, it's a community and leadership. That is showing in every project, every town. So moving forward, we believe, and this is our suggestion, our recommendation, that the council could consider updating the land development regulations, the zoning code. The zoning code has several chapters that is worth to be taken into consideration to be in accordance, in agreement with your new comprehensive plan, with the new policy, so it can move forward. So we would like to suggest that along the way, we could put together a proposed list of zoning code amendments that we could bring to the council workshop to see what do you think, and if you agree, we could work into those text amendments. That is moving forward. So all these policies and objectives could be implemented, and when a developer comes to town, we can actually ask them, tell code such and such. So, and also based on this comprehensive plan, we believe that one of the next steps moving forward is to strengthen code enforcement. We found in, for example, on the housing chapter, in the land use chapter, it's important to have an effort and strengthen code enforcement that will support the urban character in the state that this town, this vibrant town, deserves. So those are just two last ideas that after working on your comprehensive plan for all these months, we wanted to, moving forward ideas. So, and again, we think Antonio Park is a durable, so thank you so much.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Nilsa, and we
Appreciate the presentation.
appreciate the presentation and all of the hard work.
Certainly appreciate it.
I certainly
Anything else?
appreciate it. Anything else?
Okay, so great.
Okay,
Thanks
so
again for
great,
the
and thanks again for the presentation. At this time, if there's any comments or questions from council,
Entertain those questions.
we'll entertain those questions and comments.
Questions and
Any
comments.
questions and comments?
Oh, Councilwoman Green?
Oh, Councilwoman Green?
I knew, so I can say this. I knew you meant it. I'm sitting here and I am just overwhelmed with the caliber and the amount of work you all have done comprehensively. And you ought to be applauded. And it just hurts me. I want to ask, I asked her our question. Let me ask you a question. You just said at the end that if we've done it, now we want to move forward. Is it important that the residents, not just the Mangoni Park, any municipality, town, city, what is important to the residents of the town being involved or aware of the amount of work that staff and you all have done on this comprehensive? And why is it important to the residents?
It's important to embrace the community through the leadership. That's the reason I selected the words very carefully. Vibrant community and leadership, they go together. You know, you cannot have a vibrant community without a strong leadership. And this council provides that leadership. The community will embrace these policies and objectives. But they need to be reflective on the land development regulations. And then, because then when a developer arrives to town, we have something to put our hat on it.
That's why I asked that question, especially when you mentioned leadership and something else, when you mentioned the jury box. I'm sitting here listening to the information that you all are giving, and I have been an elected official for a long time. And this was in the community, and they are not, I feel bad for the people. The ones who live here, who should be listening to what you all are talking about, seeing what you all have done, making them aware of what's in their town, where we are going and where we've been. We up here know. The people who are really impacted, what hurts me, and it's not our fault, it's of ours. I don't know the answer to it. I don't, but I looked at since I've been up here since March. There is so much work, Billy, you all have done, and no one is acceptable to it. People are here, and I'm just making that comment. I don't know where it's going, but I asked our vice mayor a while ago, and I really feel dumb. The vice mayor looked at me like, where you been? I looked at her. I said, I'm a resident? Ain't go to see I get what they're doing. And she looked at me like, yeah. And the vice mayor, the reason I asked you that question is that I know one person, if we have to do a council meeting, I send him, I forward him our agenda so he can sign on. And that I don't know what has happened this time. Because
Viewers, but I don't know who you are.
Well,
Right now, we're
well,
showing 2 viewers on the.
that's why I asked you that, because
Let's-
I don't remember seeing the information where to send them where they could come in, and you're right, you can't make them, like you said, one day you read, make them, but I was wondering how, you know, my problem, let me go back to what I said, and shut up. It's just that I just really wish they were capable of absorbing the information that has been given, the work that you all have done, the residents, and I just don't think they, I mean, it's nothing we can do. I'm not complaining, but it's just a pity that the virus has made it impossible for the community to enjoy and learn what you all have done. It may be able to do it, but I just don't. That's my comment.
Okay.
Okay,
Vice Mayor?
right. Vice Mayor, you had something?
Well, I agree with Councilwoman Green, this is an enormous amount of work. And I know taking from the previous plan and upgrading what needed to be upgraded, it takes a lot of comprehension of what's there, and what needs to be integrated to upgrade, and I appreciate that work, that effort, and I love the colorful graphic displays, which makes it a little bit more comprehensible for those who do not know all the terms that are involved in land use and proper development. So I appreciate those additional tools to help us. Other than that, I don't really have any significant questions, because I think we kind of exercised those questions throughout the year and a half that we've been working on this.
Alrighty. Other comments?
Alrighty, other comments or questions, council?
Okay. And of course, all of this.
And of course, all of this, of course, once adopted, as it has been throughout the course of the years, is also uploaded to our website, so access is there. Persons are attending, we hope, when we get the information out via YouTube and Zoom of the meetings, even prior to the pandemic. We post signs out in the communities of the meetings and so forth, so that involvement and that can take place. And I understand what Councilwoman Green is saying. Unfortunately, in a representative government, people represent elected officials to represent their interests. And so they trust that that's happening, and sometimes they just don't avail themselves for that purpose, perhaps. Okay? Right, so with that, if there's no other questions or comments, now, Ken?
I just wanted, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, I just wanted to thank Nilsa and Denise. They've been very patient throughout this process, and great presentation, great, much appreciated.
No, certainly.
Oh, certainly, and that sentiment of us all sitting up here. Thank you so much for the hard work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, seeing that there's no other council comments or questions, if there's any comment from the floor, any public comment, don't know if there's anyone attending online that would have any questions. And just as information, we have about a 40-second delay, so we're going to allow 40 seconds just in case some of the attendees online have any questions.
They will allow that for.
They will allow that 40 seconds. Okay.
Now, if there's any questions.
Now, if there's any questions or comments in the interim, while we're waiting for that 40 seconds to take place, feel free if there's any additional comments or questions. We're at the end of the 40 seconds. Okay, thanks. Just wanted to make sure we gave them that opportunity.
Seeing that
there are no other questions or comments,
we will now go to the.
we will now go to the ordinance as we have it before us. And of course, we've heard it read by title, ordinance number 2020-02. We've had discussion as it relates to the ordinance, and that is the updating of our year. Seeing that there's no other questions or comments, we've had full discussion, so at this point in time, we'll go to a vote. What is your pleasure as it relates to ordinance number 2020-02?
Is there a motion?
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve the 2020-02. Second reading.
Motion
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
has been properly moved.
Has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any questions on the motion?
Seeing that there's no questions.
Seeing that there's no questions on the motion, roll call, please.
Councilmember Green. Councilmember
Yes.
McDowell.
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
again,
you so much. And again, thanks so much for all of the hard work. We really appreciate it. Thanks.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Thanks.
Oh,
Thanks
thanks. And thanks again. Okay.
So we're going to move on in our.
So we're going to move on in our agenda. Our next item is item 7A, and this is a request for approval of outside storage, and this is the Town Cars Auto Sales at 53rd Court North. Property control numbers is listed there in the agenda, and the applicants are present. We're going to ask if you would, please just come forward, and we'll have you
State your name and address.
state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Council, Jeanette Howard, here, Central House, and Old House, represent the owners of the.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So note for the
Okay, so noted for the record. And we do have the application before us, and this is for outside storage.
And so what
we'll do is we'll yield the floor, the purpose of the storage, and we'll yield the floor to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you may recall, about 2 weeks ago, we had our special exception hearing. We had extensive discussion about the intended purpose of the use, which was ultimately approved as a used vehicle dealership at 53rd Court in Virginia Park. Today, we are seeking the outside storage approval. As you may recall, the discussion that we had was related to the capacity of the property being next to vehicles. So we are seeking approval for that capacity. I'm happy to take any questions on that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
At this point,
you have the application before you for the request. Any questions or comments as it relates to council having comments or questions?
Any questions or comments?
Any questions or comments?
And just while
council is getting their comments together, Ken, anything from the administration?
Only that, Mr. Mayor, only that there is a copy of the application in the packet. It does list out the desired inventory they're asking for, so I would recommend that just, if you haven't already, to take a look at that. Or if the applicant would like to read that part.
Sure, I'm happy
structure reads like the application stage, it says, the outside storage would consist of vehicle inventory, cars, trucks, other related motor vehicles, ancillary, vehicle equipment supplies, and washing equipment and supplies capacity 92 vehicles. This is, consistent verbiage with our prior outside storage application that was approved by the town. And like we discussed previously, it is consistent with what we currently carry at our other lots in the town.
Questions? Councilman McConnell?
At the last meeting, there was some discussion on the number of vehicles. I don't know if we settled that. The number of vehicles they would be storing on that lot.
Yes, in fact, there was.
And as you stated appropriately, there was a lot of discussion, and so we basically had full discussion at that time. I remember doing a calculation based upon what we had done at the last time and considering the size of the lot versus this size of the lot, and having that buffer, and if I remember correctly, and I stand to be corrected on the exact number, but I thought that what we had agreed was that we were going to be looking at least in this venue here, 72 cars, 72 capacity, because we talked about having a buffer for overflow and such, as opposed to having it, if you got an influx of a lot of cars, they're not all outside the gate, so that would have allowed for that.
Remember that part of the conversation?
You remember that part of the conversation?
We used the basis of 150 vehicles on the other lot, which we thought was the number that was approved, with a capacity of 200. I stand corrected, it was actually approved 175, so that percentage is 87.5, so that, if you use that same calculation today for the 92 vehicles, it brings it about 80.5 vehicles, which I think we would be comfortable.
Okay. I thought it was a little more than that. I think it was it?
I think what I recall, we had said between a range of 74 to 80, I think is what we said on range.
Okay.
And you just say 8 is what you need.
80 would be the exact, 80.5 to be exact, would be the calculation based on what was previously approved for outside storage for the other lot.
So then you could agree on 80.
Yes, we would be happy with that.
Righty,
Righty, and again, just for the record, because I remember initially, and I know it's ebb and flow in the business, you say, oh, you get more inventory, sometimes you don't, and so forth, but at one point it was maxed out, that there was an abundance of cars above what was approved, so for that purpose, not singularly, but considering that we avoid that happening, and that's why we don't want to go to the max that could be allowed. Okay. Okay.
So
what's being discussed at this point in time for council purposes is 80 cars being approved, vehicles, and then there's a question I would have as well as it relates to ancillary equipment. But right now, if we could just sort of look at the number of cars so that we have a consensus.
That's 80 cars and trucks.
Consistent with our current.
Other questions or clarifications?
Other questions or clarification
Relates to the number.
as it relates to the number of vehicles?
Okay. Righty.
Okay.
Now,
Righty. Just as it relates to washing equipment and supplies, if you could just sort of elaborate on exactly what that is. We don't want to take anything for granted. So what would be washing equipment and things that you would actually be storing outside?
Okay.
Okay.
I did include it here just for consistency with the prior outside storage application, just for the consistency purposes, but certainly anticipate that being contained on that second lot that's under consideration.
Okay. So for our purposes,
So for our purposes, we can do a scratch through, and then, of course, with the record, it would reflect that that is not being requested as storage.
That's fine.
Okay. Now, and
Okay.
again.
And again, we, just for clarification, so ancillary vehicles would be by your definition?
I believe we discussed that in the last hearing, but I'm going to keep
Same type of inventory that we have now, cars and trucks, nothing over, like we talked last week, or last hearing, 2 axles, no tri-axle vehicles, nothing heavy duty, like medium duty, light duty, like we do have now.
Okay, so
Okay,
your definition.
so
of
your
ancillary
definition of
vehicles
ancillary
would be
vehicles would be two-axle vehicles?
Yes. No triaxle, no quadaxle. No 18-wheelers, no trailers.
Okay, so noted.
Okay, so noted. Okay.
Alrighty, any other questions?
Alrighty, any other questions or comments?
Okay, any
Okay.
additional
Any
comments or?
additional comments or questions or for clarification from staff?
Okay, Amity, do you have any
Okay,
questions?
Amity, do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you. No, sir. Thank you.
Alrighty, seeing that there's no
Alrighty,
other
seeing that there's
questions,
no other questions or comments,
If we've had full discussion.
if we've had full discussion.
So the request before us.
So the request before us tonight is for the outside storage of the items that you see. On the request, minus washing equipment and supplies, with the capacity of no more than 80. And ancillary, of course, being defined as no, two-axle vehicles, which would exclude
Triaxles and.
triaxles and trailers and those kind of things as stated by the applicant, co-applicant.
Are so
Okay.
noted for the record.
Are so noted for the
Any other
record.
questions or
Any other questions or comments?
Hearing none, is there a motion?
Hearing none, is there a motion?
May I move that we approve the outside storage request for county for auto sales in their court with the agreement that has been stated at this meeting?
Motion has been
Okay.
made.
Motion has been made, is there a second?
Motion has
Second.
been made and
Motion has been made and properly second, that the request for the approval of the outside storage for town cars auto sales be approved as stated here for the record. Are there any questions on the motion?
Seeing that there are no motions.
Seeing that there are no motions, roll call, please.
Councilmember Green? Councilmember
Yes.
McConnell?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith? Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson? Mayor
Yes.
Albright?
Yes.
It passes unanimously.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much.
Have a great evening.
Okay, you have a great evening, certainly. Okay.
Hey, have a good one.
Okay, hey, have a good one.
We will move on in our.
Okay, we will move on in our agenda. Our next item is item 7B, and this is a request for approval of outside storage for Ryan Rampersad at 1110 53rd Court South. Property control number is listed on the agenda. And if you just state your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you so much, and we do.
Thank you
have
so
the
much, and we do have the
application
application before us, but if you could just state for the record the purpose of you requesting this.
Okay. Now, on your
Okay.
application.
Now, on
you
your
state that there's
application,
10
you state that there's 10
parking
parking spaces? Okay.
spaces. That's designated for your.
That's designated for your bay. Okay.
Okay. And if you would
Okay.
just.
And if you would just take the
explain
opportunity to explain
what
the
you
nature
do
of your business, what you do, and why you need this.
Auto repair. So I have, working hard, so I have extra customers that are outside, it's just waiting to be working on the next one.
Okay.
And how long?
And how long would you say a car
sit out?
might sit out? Just normally, on average.
Some of the bigger things are probably 6 months.
Okay. Okay.
Alrighty. And this is
Alrighty.
just.
And this is
discussion
just discussion at this point, so some for 6 months, and the purpose of, and the resultant factors, in low inventory,
Other mitigating factors.
other mitigating factors would be that it would be there for 6 months?
Oh, this one to be.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that a?
Is that
sort
a
of delay in workforce?
sort of delay in
or-
workforce, or?
Kind of, sort of, sometimes they get busy, and the bigger jobs have to, push this out a little bit.
Mhm.
If it's a small job, that's the reason why it stays like that.
Okay.
Okay.
And again, just conversation.
And again, just conversation, because okay.
Okay.
Because normally you would kind of consider the rotation, this one came in first,
Move that out
and then we move that out and get the next one in.
Yeah, I'm considering that, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Other
comment?
council comments or
Councilman
questions?
McConnell?
Councilman McConnell?
The ones you store outside there would be, maybe you're waiting for parts.
Some of them are.
You're waiting for parts. And, like you said, you might have to push some ahead of some of the other guys, so they gotta go out.
Yeah, a lot of times I have a kind of actually working on, because it was taking like a week or two, I'm actually moving it, so it's another job. So that's one of the reasons why it takes long. Some of the one kind I have that actually working on for the time consuming, so that's one of the reasons. It's a long time.
One other question, I see here on the application, I know a forklift, that would pertain to your business. You'd have to have that. And the trailers and boats, do you work on those too?
No, but, other than getting one, if I do have to put it there, I don't have to be an issue, because I have to go to my side.
So that'd be your personal boat.
Go right ahead. That's all.
Councilman Smith?
Councilman Smith?
Good evening. Good evening.
Hey, can you be a
little more specific? You say a vehicle that you're repairing can be on a 10th basis, 6 months.
Give me some specifics.
Give me some specifics, or give us up here under their specifics.
And you said
you're a manager, move the smaller jobs quicker, but give me a real solid specific of why something would, a vehicle or truck that you're repairing sit in a space outside or indoor for 6 months. I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
Because I work for myself, a lot of times, all the time, I don't really have any help. And the vehicle that does sit there for a long period of time, like that, is for someone that just doesn't hurry for the vehicle, and they willing to wait. And I just don't, have the time to work in this kind of way. So I would do some work to it, and then I would put it back outside, and then it would sit there for a while until I get another free time, because I don't have a whole lot of free time. To bring it back in, and then do some more with it. It is a lot of work. It's not sure I'm doing not like a break job or something simple that will be done in one day. It takes, if I then we take it in there and just keep working at it, like a month or two.
Okay, let me kind of exit in a different way. Maybe I'll change my delivery. All right, let me kind of go at this angle. You running a business. You are running a business. You are running a business. And your business is to make some form of profit. So you see where I'm going. So you see where I'm going with this. I'm trying to be specific. Get some specifics. Why would something? It's almost like collision work. You get so many cars in for dent repair, collision, and turn them over. Unless it's a part that's imported from overseas, that's where he calls a hold on getting. That's safe for conversation purposes, a Hyundai part, and it's backlog. But I'm trying to understand. You're running this business. You're requesting from us up on the dais 10 spots. And you gave us a scenario that a vehicle or equipment would be there 6 months.
Well, something that I wouldn't say from more than one project like that. Maybe two.
All right. I just kind of want to make sure I heard you correctly.
It's not a vehicle like somebody that's using it. It's going to be like similar to a restoration. A restoration can take 6 months, it can take a year, it can take 2 years for a restoration of a vehicle. So something like that I'm doing. I'm not doing like full restoration of a vehicle, but I'm restoring most of the vehicle.
Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I don't want to be too individual, but I get. Repair restorations. That's different. But it's an automobile that's going to get a member to and from work. I would want it, repaired at a certain time. Again, I'm no disrespect trying to tell you how to run your, but that thought comes to my head. Thank you.
I understand.
Councilwoman Green?
Councilwoman Green?
I want to ask a Councilman.
Yes, Councilwoman Green.
Say you understood. Now tell me what does he do? I'm not that sarcastic. I but what does this business?
Specifically, he does repairs. That's what his business does. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Councilwoman.
It's a garage.
Yeah, he does automobile.
Yeah, he does automobile repair.
A 7B on his
Right. A 7B on his application?
Yes, according to his
Yes,
application.
according to his
7B.
application on 7B? Yes,
Correct. You have the
correct.
application?
You have the
Correct.
application there, the 7B?
That's what I.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I just want to get clarification. You say there's more than 10 parking spaces and you only have 10 that you are allowed to use?
No.
And you usually only have how many at a time that you're working on?
I can only work on one at a time.
But I see more than one park here. How many of them are your duties?
When they're waiting to be waiting.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to be clear. So how many, all these cars that are listed here in the picture are cars that you, are your duties?
Okay, the pictures that you see there, like I say, I don't know if you noticed, like the first 4 vehicles that's in the picture right there, those are my long-term spots. And the ones that beyond that, they're not gonna be there for more than 2 or 3 days. And then they're back. Especially on the weekends, like I will pick up the whole rest of the area there, and behind the fence. But by Sunday, they'll be gone, because I can't occupy 20 some space.
I see. Okay.
So,
Okay, well, good.
Okay, we'll get full discussion here, then we'll go to Councilman Green.
Okay, so I understand, basically it's only about 4 or 5 spaces that you're actually holding continuously. And then for occasional work jobs, you'll bring in another 2 or 3 that you can work through and get back out.
2 to 3, 2 cameras per day.
Okay,
If it requires, more than that, I would have to wait.
okay, I got you.
Councilwoman Green?
Okay, Councilman Green?
so we'll give it him, he's asking permission for 10 cars to be parked in his garage. That he will work on. And how many cars per day?
No, he's only requesting.
No, he's only requesting permission to be able to store up to 10 cars.
He's getting permission to store 10 cars in his garage.
Yeah.
Store 10
Outside,
cars.
Outside his bay,
Outside store, to repair them.
Purpose of repair.
for the purpose of repairing, correct.
How many cars? So he's going to be working on how many cars per day?
Well, okay, so let's do
Okay,
this.
so let's do this. Right.
Okay.
Okay. All righty. Okay.
If I may.
If I may, what we're doing here is not trying to determine, because that's business related, how fast you can do a car. But whether or not, from the standpoint of just public safety and those kind of things that we attend to, there's 10 cars too many cars to have out there at one point. So those are the things that we look at. Is it, as opposed to how fast he moved the cars? Because of course, from a business standpoint, and I think that's where Councilman Smith was going, that if I bought my car and I needed my car in 5 days and it's still sitting there 30 days, well, you start losing business. Right, and that's a business thing. Right, but for our purposes, what do you think is a sufficient amount?
Right. So for our purposes,
So for our purposes, what is a sufficient amount of cars that we would like to see?
Or no more than.
Or no more than, and that would be the question for us.
So just while
Right, and so just while council is thinking about what, up to, whatever this 10 or whatever it's going to be in terms of an approval, so you have a lease
For your spot there?
for your spot there?
So the lease
Okay,
agreement.
and so the lease agreement demands that you cannot have no more than X amount of space
Okay.
for your bay,
And so you
okay?
figure based
And so
upon
you
that
figure
lease,
based upon that
that space that
lease,
you're
that
leasing,
space that
you
you're
can fit 10
leasing,
cars.
you can fit 10 cars.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. So.
okay. I'm sorry, you had a question, Councilwoman?
Okay. And if you would.
Okay, and if you have a question, just feel free to the applicant, if there's a question, or was it specific to Vice Mayor?
She just wanted to get the understanding that I had.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, okay.
I'm missing something. I've never known anybody to come before council and ask him to store 10 cars so he can work on them. That's why I'm saying it doesn't make sense to me. That's why I'm saying I'm missing something. So somebody has to help me. I'm stupid.
Alrighty.
Alrighty.
It's an outside storage request, so anytime town code requires that we appear before the governing body anytime that you are storing those items related to your business outside. So even though he's an auto garage repair, he still has to be able to take his customers' cars and leave them outside. So he has to get permission from you to do that.
Well, then why don't you still look at somebody working on the car? That's why I kept saying, you sound like you're talking about somebody giving you permission to run a garage. That's why.
He's licensed to do an auto garage already. That's what he's licensed to do.
Well, we talked about working on cars.
He-
That's what I'm
He,
talking about.
okay, so just.
Okay, so just for the record,
cars.
you repair cars.
Whether that be the body.
Whether that be the body.
If I may.
So you work on cars. The nature of your business is to repair cars, be that the body and/or other parts.
Okay, so that's work on cars.
Okay, so that's work on cars.
Okay, and that work on cars.
Okay, and that work on cars take
place.
place inside your bay.
Right, so you don't do outside work.
Right, so you don't do outside work, it's just that you place the cars outside
temporary
for temporary storage, whatever that storage time is going to be. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right.
Okay, all righty.
Okay, so, with
Okay,
that,
so with that, on your request, you also have a boat and something else. Just as information, normally what we do is in terms of just outside storage, we'll look at items to be stored that are related to your business.
Right, and so the boat would
Right,
not be
and so the boat would not be related to your business, or would it be, or?
Okay.
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 Okay, okay.
But it's not an automobile.
Right, but it's not an automobile. You're an automobile repair person. Okay, mechanic, okay, body person, okay.
Okay. Right, so
Okay.
the boat.
Right, so the boat,
It's not related to.
it's not related to the business. It's not an ancillary use either.
Unless it
or-
was a houseboat.
Unless it was a houseboat and that was your residence.
Anyway, in terms of
But
the
anyway,
forklift
in terms
now,
of the
just to be clear
forklift
on
now,
that,
just to be clear on that, you
want to store a
you want to store a forklift outside as well?
Well, I don't personally own one, but if one of the building does own one, and I think to put it on there just in case something happens.
Okay, is it?
Okay,
related
is
to
it
your
is it
business?
related to your business?
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty, so no.
Alrighty, so no, so the application would be for
items
items related to your business.
related to- Okay. Alrighty,
Okay.
so the forklift. is
Righty,
not
so the
yours.
forklift is not yours? Okay.
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 It's okay, alright.
It's okay, alrighty.
No, he has
Okay.
space himself.
No, he has space himself, so he can come before us. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Alrighty.
okay, alrighty.
Any other questions?
Any other questions or comments by council?
So, the board is not.
It's not an ancillary.
It's not an ancillary
direct
use, it's not a direct use, that being the cars that you work on.
The boat is not.
The boat is not an ancillary use, something else that sort of is related to your business. So I would not recommend approval. Council could make that decision. There's
Others to make a decision.
others to make a decision. I would not recommend approval of anything that's not directly related to the business. Mhm, okay.
Other questions or
Okay.
comments?
Other questions or comments?
Okay, Vice Mayor?
Okay, Vice Mayor?
Just point of clarity, you said that you have repair of cars in the next word is trailers. Is that something that is a part of the car?
Yeah, the trailer is a part of the business. It's a contract.
Like a dolly?
Like a dolly?
Something you put the cars on.
Something
to
you put the cars on to bring and move it back? Okay, just a little small dolly kind of?
Okay. I just see what I'm saying, but it's a car patio.
Okay, already? Other questions or comments, council?
Any other council comments?
Any other council comments or questions?
Okay, anything from
Okay,
administration?
anything from administration?
I was just gonna add real quick, you did show a picture of the trailer. Nothing more.
Okay, yeah, a little car dolly.
Admitting?
Okay, admitting, you have
Thank you,
anything?
sir. My only thought in looking at this before the meeting was, one thing the council might want to consider is, I know he's allocated so many spaces by his lease agreement. I presume you drive to the space to go to work every day. So you may consider his use to get to his business and park his own personal car. I just wouldn't want you to approve something more than he's allowed, to give him outside storage for 10, plus the parking space he needs for his own vehicle to go to work. If there is a lease agreement that he's saying, limits him to 10 spaces.
Okay.
Okay.
No, thanks.
Well, thanks. Alrighty, and of course, you drive in to work every day,
Your personal
okay, in your personal car.
And so your 10
And so your 10 spots allocated, at least just by your lease agreement, is for 10. That would be inclusive of your car as well.
Okay, so you're looking at.
Okay,
nine
so you're looking
storage.
at 9 storage then.
Okay. All right.
Okay, alrighty.
Somebody, other questions?
Anybody, other questions or comments?
Alrighty.
Alrighty.
Hearing none.
Hearing
There's a
none.
request
There's a request before you, and that is, of course, from Ryan Rampersad. They're at 1110 53rd Court South. He's requesting storage, of course, for cars, trailer, the boat. It's on his application, and forklift. Again, we have always looked at approving things that are related to the business. The boat and the forklift is not. So, that being considered, what is your pleasure as it relates to the application before you and the request?
Is there a motion?
Is there a motion?
Mayor, I'll recommend that we approve the request for outside storage at the 11th and 53rd Court. For the purpose of storing, repairing cars, trailers, trucks, and use of 9 to 10 parking spaces.
Okay. Motion has been made.
Motion has been made to approve the application minus the request for boat and forklift. Is there a second to that?
Second.
It has been.
It has been.
I'm sorry, sir, for the interruption. Was the motion for approval of 9 spaces?
9 to 10?
9 to 10? So that would be inclusive of his car? Okay.
Total.
So 10 total, inclusive of the applicant's car.
Thanks so much.
Okay, thanks so much for the clarification. Okay, and there was a second coming?
Second.
Okay, so with that clarification.
Okay, so with that clarification,
Okay.
second?
So it has been
Okay.
properly moved
So it
and
has been properly moved and seconded that approval be granted to Ryan Rampersad at the address stated for the use, we'll get right to it, for the use of up to 9 spots for the purpose of storing cars and trailers that he has for repair. Has been properly moved and seconded. Question, Councilman Green.
Maybe out of water. The attorney can correct me if I am, if I'm out of water. I may be out of water when I'm on this place while I ask questions, I think I am. Will I ask a question? We giving him permission to store outside.
Yes, ma'am. Also, this is a request for outside storage approval. Your code requires that anything he's doing related to his business, that all things related to that business be put in a fully enclosed building. If he's not putting them inside of his garage or his bay, your code requires him to come before you as the council to obtain outside storage approval, and that's what's before you tonight.
So we're industrial, so I'm learning something, so in industrial, we have to get permission to go outside. And so.
You don't have to,
you don't have to
make a request.
He has to make a request to you.
You're not obligated to give him the permission, but he's required to come before you to request use of outside space, correct?
The reason I'm confused, not confused, but I have a question. And I still say, do we have a garage? You know what I mean? You men can help me when you talk about repairing cars and cars outside. And I really know how when I say this, and I'm not trying to defame a municipality. Sir, and I'm not comparing your business to it. But I know one situation that looks just like what I'm envisioning here. And it's in Revere Beach. It's right on, across the street from the hospital. Is that the type of facility with its outside storage where you work on cars? It will. That was, I said, that was why I asked the question. Because what I'm envisioning is you're giving him permission to store in cars outside. But it is a garage that works on cars. Mr. Mayor, I'm asking you this question. Am I correct?
He works on his cars.
He works on his cars, correct, inside the garage.
But it is in all, no matter how you roll the road by any other name. It's a good car. Am I right or wrong? Am I
Yes, he
right or
has a
wrong?
garage.
Yes, he has a garage that he repairs cars,
But what he
yes.
can't- but
But what he can't, but what he's saying is,
work
I
if I
can't
got
work
10
if I got 10 customers.
I can't work on all 10.
I can't work on all 10. The request
So we have
is,
to clarify
and so we have to clarify
the
the applicant's request, and we have to fully understand the request.
So noted.
So noted, so noted.
However, as it relates to
However, as it relates to the applicant's request, he's requesting, I can't get 10 cars if I want to work on 10 cars if I had 30 hands. I can only work on one at a time, but I need somewhere to store the others till I can get to them.
When I take my car to
When I take my car to Nissan,
Nissan,
if they say, well, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Albright, that car's it's gonna take 5 days to do that, they park it outside. Right,
Then, when they repair it,
then, when they repair it, they bring it into the garage, put it on the lift, and they work
Once
on
it's
it.
done, they put
Once
it
it's
back
done, they
outside.
put it back outside. If I'm out of town and I can't pick it up for 5
stays
days,
outside.
it stays outside in a parking, in a designated space for 5
That's what
days.
he's requesting.
That's what he's
That once I
requesting,
finish or
that
once
once I finish, or once I can't get to it, then I
outside
put it back
until it's
outside until it's picked up.
Alrighty,
Okay?
so that it's clear for
Alrighty, so that is clear for everyone else. Okay, so if there are any other questions on the motion?
Okay, seeing that there's no other
Okay,
questions.
seeing that there's no other questions on the motion, we have had the first and the second and the question. That being stated, roll call, please.
Councilmember Green?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and that is for
Yes,
up to 10
and that is
cars,
for
no
up to 10
boat,
cars, no boat, no
forklift,
no
anything like that.
forklift or anything like that.
And,
Right.
and just as
And just as
I'm looking at
information,
it,
as I'm looking at it, we also have probably, and I'll speak with
Kinda
Ken,
need to
we
spruce up
kind of
over
need to spruce up over there, so. Okay.
Alrighty? Oh, but
Alrighty?
that's-
Oh, but that's for something else. Okay.
Okay,
Okay, Alrighty?
okay. Okay, thanks so
Okay.
much. We're-
Okay, thanks so much. We're,
Yes, and they'll.
yes,
be
and
consulting
they'll be consulting with you, you consult with them, and they'll make sure everything is in order for you,
Thanks,
okay?
and you have a great evening.
Well, thanks, and you have a great evening. You're welcome.
Okay, have a good one.
Okay, have a good one.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Okay, we're going to move on in our agenda. Our next item is item 7C.
This is a request.
And this is a request for consideration to award a contract for storm cleaning on the Hill Avenue Drainage Project, pipe cleaning. Ken?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, in your packet, near the back, you see 3 quotes, one from Proline, one from Environmental Water Service, Waste Services Group, and the other from Shenandoah. Following that, you see an email recommendation from our town engineer, Ron Hancock, to go with Proline $41,060.65. There was $32,000 budgeted, I'm sorry, as you were, $30,000 budgeted in this year's budget. We will take the remaining funds, if this passes, from monies left over from paving under the streets department. That money is available.
And that's this.
And that's this current year's budget.
This current.
Okay.
Okay, anything else, Ken?
Okay, anything else, Ken, as it relates to this? Okay.
This is the Hill Avenue section, and you're gonna see we're doing a section each year. And this is now, any of you that lives in that area, you know how it floods, this is badly needed.
Oh, thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Is there any council
Questions on-
comments or questions on the request?
Any council comments? or
Any council comments or questions?
Let me jump in there right now and get
Councilman
mine
Smith?
over. I have a comment. Good evening. I'ma just go off, piggyback what you just said. It's, Vancock recommendation to go with Proline. All three companies doing the same thing. Proline is 41,000. I see another company at 42. Then I see another company, the third company at another price. So. Shenandoah, did I say that right? Shenandoah? Shenandoah is 42. Proline 41. And I really didn't get the other, but they're a third? I thought you read off.
Navarro?
Yeah,
They did the total?
my notes are scrambled, so I'm not seeing they. Yeah, because it's not there. What was the price for it?
46, according to the email.
Yeah, so that's not confirmed, that's just that's confirmed according to the email. All right.
I will add that Proline has done work for us before. So has Shenandoah, by the way. Proline is the most recent.
Okay, just me, but I understand the recommendation by, and I understand your comment that they have done work for us before. But at some point in the day, recommendation can be 50-50. Them doing work for us can be 50-50. That, I know we're looking at dollars and one is 46. That's not confirmed. I just would think or hope that we, and I trust recommendations. I trust workmanship or past contract done work. But at the end of the day, 46,000 probably could do the same job or bang up job. I don't know. So what I'm alluding to is where are we going with this and why are we going with that? Does that make sense?
Well, I'll just say that I know Van started this process back in March.
Yes, sir.
So just from a staff level, I've seen where it's been very thorough. I've seen them going back and forth with some of the contractors, and their quote wasn't apples to apples with the other ones. So I know it's been very thorough. So on the recommendation, I can support the recommendation, knowing that Van's really put a lot of time into it.
Okay.
And really, when it comes down to it, in this particular case, we have three very qualified contractors. Two of them have done work for us. The most recent also happens to be the low price. So that turns out to be the recommended contractor.
I had to ask you, so my mind's at ease, but I did want to ask.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments?
Other questions or comments?
Other questions or comments?
Other questions or comments?
Wanted to find out this work would be commenced in the hearing and scheduled to begin the time.
About 10:01 p.m. No, this will be happening. You will probably see the trucks in your neighborhood this week. I wouldn't be surprised. We definitely emphasize this fiscal year. So.
Okay. Other questions or comments?
Ready? Other questions or comments? Councilman
I
Smith?
do want to ask one additional question, if that's appropriate. Whoever we decide to do it, and you're saying Proline's recommendation, and you have the other price, what's the timeline? Again, I'm about how long it's going to take, and what if we get some hiccups? So what's the time?
That's a good question. We asked all of them to be ready.
Yes.
Following the meeting tonight, so I feel pretty confident within the next few days, maybe even this week, he'll be out here. And it should take about a week to 10 days, weather permitting.
All right, thank you.
Pardon, any other questions?
Pardon, any other questions or comments?
Hearing none.
Hearing none. And you do have the three
Quotes before you.
quotes before you, and we have the recommendation of our engineer. My business,
Simply
just simply state that this is well within the bailiwick of our attorney,
Our engineer.
our engineer, who's been with us for a lot of years and makes this recommendation. So,
With that.
what is your pleasure?
We'll entertain a motion.
We'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move the report to award the contract for cleaning drainage to Proline for the amount stated in the estimate.
Motion has been made.
Motion has been made to award the
Service of cleaning the.
service of cleaning the storm and the drainage systems at the Hill Avenue, as stated there in your agenda, to Proline Vector Services Incorporated. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any additional questions on the motion?
Hearing none.
Hearing none.
Roll call,
Motion,
please.
roll call, please.
Councilmember Green? Councilmember
Yes.
McConnell?
Yes.
Councilmember
Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson?
Yes.
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 And Acting
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Our next item is item 7D, and this is a request for the approval of purchase order number 2020-0915PW-UF for 2 utility vehicles in the amount not to exceed $51,275. Okay, Ken and Roosevelt?
And Orwell.
And Orwell, okay. Okay, okay.
The first of two F-150, one will be new and one will be slightly used.
Okay.
Alrighty, so we do have.
Alrighty, so we do have the request before us, and just as information, there was, we did discuss it, the purchase, so I'm familiar with it, so therefore I'll just kind of defer to other council in terms of the real review and any questions you may have. And just while you're doing that, if the first vehicle, if you just kind of share, just for, again, for the record.
2010 Ford F-150. It's equipped with a V8, that's 5 V8. It's a long bed, like with the tow package and everything, so we can pull the trailer, and public works and where we use that. The other vehicle is a new one, 2020.
And that's the F-150.
Okay, and that's the F-150, that's, was that the one with the cab?
Okay, for council to.
Okay, for council to go different places.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's a new Ford.
Okay, so that's a new Ford F-150, dual, the cab.
Not the dually.
Okay, not the dually, with the cab.
Right, and that's just a regular.
Right, and that's just a regular bed. Okay.
Councilman Smith?
Councilman Smith?
You said 2010, I'm just saying that as a 2012.
There's two.
Okay, so the 2012. I saw the newer one with the 20.
That's probably Molinex, because we did Molinex and Alpha.
Okay, I'm looking at both. Okay, I'm looking at both of them. I'm looking at Molinex. Molinex got one at 220, according to this. And then you had, it's two of them. That's what it is. You got two Molinex. One is showing a white 2012, and then showing a 2020 from the same company. Yeah.
It's on the back.
It's on the back. It's on.
Because I wasn't saying it.
It's on one sheet.
It's on one sheet.
Yeah. Okay. I just heard you quote 2010, so.
I went to Alpaca and we went to Molinex actually 1,000 something.
So let's do this so that.
So let's do this so that, it's, you know, followed all clearly. We'll do an Alpaca. So the one that you have there is for
For the two trucks there?
for the two trucks there.
Okay. Alrighty.
Okay.
So for the.
Alrighty, and so for the 2010, just a description of that truck.
It's a long bed, 5 V8 with the tow package. Mr. Mayor, if I may, I'm going to add to that. We did have some discussion with council members, one-on-one, and a couple of things that came up. The idea of, and I realize the town has done this previously, like getting with the county or West Palm and kind of jumping on their contract and maybe save some money. And so we did contact West Palm, and they have the same contract as the county. And their truck, when I called the guy from there, their truck was like, there's 38,000. And the way this year has gone, I'm not blaming everything on COVID. I gotta accuse everybody else of doing it, but, you know, we just, here at the last minute, this was budgeted, we did budget 50,000 for this current year, and so we just had to do what we could. And I think I know the new one is in good shape. Everything that I've heard about the used one, for Alpaca, one for 9,500, has 85,000 miles. Roosevelt's looked at it a couple of times, and so I don't feel too bad about that. and in reference to being able to jump on another contract.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can, like you say, either county contracts or there is a state program here, like we talked about, that you had familiarity with in your last state, but the same thing applies. If you go into bulk, sometimes the state departments, you know, make fleet purchases, so they get different pricing based on that, so there is an opportunity to do that. I don't think that's the direction that the town is desiring to go, but that is an option. Should it be desired. Should it be desired.
So what you're saying is, even if you buy it through West Palm or the county, it's still gonna be $35,000, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, when I called it, it's 37, 38, it had to be 35, 2018.
Ain't cheap.
Okay.
I'm just not a supporter of buying a used truck. We've done that in the past out here with cars, just don't work out. Is there a warranty on it?
It's a partial one, it's not gonna be a full one like a new. But like I said, this, 2010 had 85,000 miles, it actually had 5 years, and it was actually another fleet truck, so it wasn't.
It was
doing 8,000 miles a year.
The way I look at used trucks, there's two things. It's a lease truck. Or somebody had trouble with it and they got rid of it. So that's just me.
So just for clarity's sake, could we identify and focus on the new truck first? Then we'll come back to the used?
Okay, so
Myself personally, I'd like to, if we're gonna get 2 trucks, get 2 brand new trucks.
Just focus on the one truck, because we don't have the budget for 2 trucks at this point.
How rolling?
So we can come together. If we could just look at, there's two vendors right now, Mullinax and Alpaca. They both have 2 brand-new F-150s. So as it relates to that, if we could focus on what direction you'd like to go.
one of those vendors,
With one of those vendors, or neither one of them, for the new truck, and then we'll come back to the used truck conversation.
Mr. Mayor, since you wanting to focus on the newer trucks for now, do we have any leverage in the pricing? Because if we,
That's what actually is a Alpaca, that's why that truck came as a little more, but it also has an inverter, it's already made into it and all that kind of stuff. It has different, the one at Alpaca has more stuff than the one.
and it's key. And it's key if we can decide as a council to go new, at least get the warranty on it. I mean, you can get extended warranty on a used truck, but
I drive before.
You got recall things, and then they're air conditioned things, so that's what happened with Fords, but they're great trucks. So
If we're gonna spend
spend the money and we're budgeting for it anyway,
I would
I would kind of hope we can kind of agree to go new.
At least we'll have the
At least we'll have the warranty, because if you go used, you're gonna have to get already a warranty that's on a lease or
vehicle or
extended warranty. So I would think new would help us.
We spend it up front.
We spend it up front to keep spending money down the road.
Right, we're
Correct.
gonna
Right,
be
we're
purchasing
going to be
truck.
purchasing a new truck.
Yes.
That's why we were looking at which new truck, from Alpaca or
Okay.
from Mullinax.
Doesn't matter, whatever.
He was trying to maximize.
He was trying to maximize it.
Honestly, the truck in 2010.
Yes.
Besides the Chevy and, F-250, and we don't drive the crane truck every day, I would rather drive that 2010 truck we have. If you ever want to see the truck, I'll be glad.
Right, well,
Okay,
we'll
right,
deal with the used in just a
we'll deal with the
second.
used in just a
That way
second.
we can at
Right,
least
so that way we can at least resolve the new truck. So let's, just the new truck at this point, and then we'll.
So the new truck?
So the new
so they're
truck,
similar trucks.
so they're similar
Both
trucks.
2020.
They're both 2020.
Alpaca has inverter and it has a lot more.
Okay, so bells and whistles.
Okay, so bells and whistles, that would sort of,
Yeah, and plug in with a socket inside the truck. That's what it is.
Uh-huh, and that's at Alpaca?
and that's at Alpaca?
Yeah, that's Alpaca.
Alrighty. So,
Alrighty.
just as it relates
So,
to
just as it relates to staff, the one at Alpaca would be just for the truck alone. I'm looking at
It's 45 and then.
it's 45 and then the rebate.
So that takes us down.
So that takes us down.
Well, the balance for Alpaca is 51, 274.50.
Okay, so I'm looking at.
I'm looking at just the new. I'm looking at the 45 is the car sale price for the new truck.
The rebates.
Right. The rebates do not apply to the used truck, so let's just focus on the new truck at this point. So you're looking at the 45,770 minus the rebate, what's the rebates?
5250.
5250, okay, which brings us down to about 40-ish.
Of course, there's no
Okay,
taxes.
of course, there's no taxes.
Over at,
Mullinax, we're looking at a
price of 43.
price of 43,815 minus a 5,000 rebate, that brings us down to 38.
So the one at.
So the one at Alpaca is about a little over $2,000 more.
Okay, but it has a few.
Okay, but it has a few bells and whistles that would be essential and useful for, okay.
Well, do we need the bells and whistles?
I would like
Okay.
Okay.
Righty, so for the 2000.
Righty, so for the 2,000, then we have the inverter.
Right, I guess the,
Right, I guess the,
it's a built-in inverter.
it's a built-in inverter.
And has a red line, what's the name, charging 400 for the red line.
Righty, but if council
Righty,
decided.
but if council decided, well, we want to kind of save the little over 2,000, we can just get a little generator that you can kind of take on the other truck if we decide.
Are you gonna get the, if you say you go to Melton, if you go with Mellanax, and you buy the new truck from them, are you gonna get the used truck?
We gonna keep going to the new truck.
If we can focus on the
If we can focus on the new truck for right now.
I understand.
I understand,
We
but
gotta first
we gotta
decide
first decide whether we're gonna buy the new truck.
So we can nail down one of
So
these.
we can nail down one of these things, we can move to the next.
I understand.
I understand, so if we can nail down the new truck first, and,
Okay, but we'll get to it.
okay, but we'll get to it.
If you're gonna buy the new truck, he's saying that you buy it through the county or West Palm, you're gonna get it for 35. Here they want 43,815.
But the one for
So-
storage is having equipment.
When that was 35, was 2-3 years ago. That's when I priced them, that was 3 years ago. It's not now. When I called the guy from the county, it was 38,000, the guy that they actually bought.
For 2020.
Well, 2020, but with nothing, you know.
They'll be brand new truck.
Yeah.
Well, that's just me. You know, if you're gonna buy a truck, you buy a new truck.
Okay,
Okay, all righty.
so in
Okay,
terms of the new
so in
truck,
terms of the new truck,
as it relates to the new truck.
as it relates to the new truck,
Mullinax,
we're looking at Mullinax,
discussing
Alpaca.
buying a
We're
new
discussing buying a
What
new
new
truck, so what new truck, from which vendor?
Alpaca.
I don't know.
Alpaca has the.
Alpaca has the inverter, and that basically just allows for you to have it plugged.
Right, so as opposed to.
Right,
having a
so as opposed to having a
generator,
generator,
run the truck,
you can plug in
power
a power source, so, right.
The other does not have that.
The other does not have that function unless you get an inverter that you plug into the ashtray, and you can do the very same thing
Inverter from-
with the inverter from, right.
I don't know how to hook it up.
Right.
Right.
The question
So
would be,
then the question would be, having the bells and whistles, specifically the inverter, is that worth the two, and the answer could be yes or no. Is that worth spending an additional little over 2,000 for the one at Alpaca versus the one at Mullinax? Similar trucks other than just those,
That option as
one of, that option as an example.
Mr. Mayor, if it's in order, staff would recommend the vehicle from Alpaca.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Oh, absolutely, yes, absolutely.
That would be the
Okay, that would be the recommendation from,
Righty, so there is a recommendation.
Righty, so there is a recommendation from staff to purchase the truck from Alpaca. And of course, that's what you have there, the 45,700 minus the 52 rebate, which is going to put us right at about 4,000 and
41,000.
41,000.
Okay, versus.
Okay, versus the one at Mullinax, which would put us at about 38.
Righty, so someone
Righty?
wants to.
So
carry
someone
that
wants
as a
to
motion,
carry that
or-
as a motion, or is there other conversation necessary?
Feel free to make a motion.
Feel free to make a motion or comments.
Alpaca, the 40.
Okay.
Is that a motion?
that a motion?
That's the motion, alpaca, the newer one for the 40.
So motion has been
Okay,
made.
so motion has been made
Yes.
that the town purchase the new 2020 truck from F-150 from Alpaca for the amount listed on the invoice.
Second to that motion.
Is there a second to that motion?
That's been properly moved and
That's been properly moved and second. Are there any additional questions on the motion?
I was just gonna ask, are we doing any, trade-ins on any vehicles, or we just increasing our?
The ones that we're trying to.
The ones that we're trying to get rid of, nobody.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I tried.
I didn't mean to.
I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to
do that.
I didn't mean to do that, but nobody would take it. No. Yeah.
They are ragged out. They are ragged out.
Yeah.
I don't know, they brag about. I don't know, they brag about the Dodge, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The beauty's in the eye of the
The
beholder.
beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So.
I know, but the one guy,
okay,
the
so-
one guy, he loves that truck.
Right. Eye of the beholder.
All right, so the motion has been.
All right. So the motion has been made and seconded. Any additional questions on the motion?
Okay, hearing none. Roll
Okay.
call,
Hearing
please.
none. Roll call, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, with gravest. Yes, with gravest things.
Yes. Now,
Yes. There was additional request as it relates to the used car. Now we can have discussion on that because basically what's happening is that we budgeted X amount of dollars, and
Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones, as he's always tried to do, is trying to maximize and get the best bang for the buck.
So we have two
Right.
trucks.
So we
one
have
that
two trucks, one that we just need to just,
We'll have to look at whether.
we'll have to look at whether we have a surplus type of a provision in place, and if not, then we have to kind of discuss how we're going to move that one out.
But we do need to replace
But
that
we
one.
do need to replace
And
that
then there's
one.
another one
Then there's
that's a little
another
bit
one
better.
that's a little bit better than
So
that.
here's my quick 30
So
seconds.
here's 30 seconds.
I have no
I have no apprehension whatsoever in
Every car I
buying used
buy
cars. Every car I buy for myself is a used
And
car.
the reason for that.
And the reason for that, I want somebody else to take the beating up front, because I buy a brand new truck, I drive off the lot, I hear
That's the
boom.
value of it
That's the
dropping.
value of it dropping when I sign the papers and drive off the
Right,
lot.
and if I find
Right,
something
and if I
in good
find
shape,
something in good shape,
I'll either get an extended
I'll either get an extended warranty,
warranty
or
or
I'll buy something that's Highline, and I know, and I have it checked out by a mechanic, that car is solid, whatever the case is, and I just buy it.
And I'm buying it for
Right,
almost
and I'm
half
buying
the
it for almost half the price.
Either one of these trucks,
Either one of these
that we
trucks
have listed
that we
here,
have listed here, I would have no problems. The one at Alpaca, maybe not, the one at Mullinax, that 85,000 miles on a Ford F-150, I would defer to Councilman Smith and anyone else who drives one. Again, I'm still within my 30 seconds. I drove an Expedition, which is the very same motor. Had all 170-something thousand miles on a car that was, in terms of engineering, at the time, the engineering is much better. So I have no issues with the used truck. What I do have an issue with is the trucks that we currently have, in getting our employees out of those two trucks into something that's safer. And because we don't have the amounts budgeted at this point for two new trucks, I would have no issue at all if indeed the truck has been vetted. Mechanic took a look at it and said, yeah, that's a solid truck. You're only driving 5 miles a day and that's it. That'll last you for the next 20 years. I'm okay with it. But that's just my position. So now there's discussion on the used truck. So feel free, the floor is open as it relates to conversation on the used truck.
I guess it's on me again.
It's on you.
Any council?
Any council?
New truck, as I stated earlier, if we go used, it's either has a warranty, or we most definitely have to put extended warranty. Do our homework, make sure no recalls, make sure the recalls have been taken care of, because certain trucks, Fords do carry those recalls. So I don't have a problem with a used truck, because it's been tested. And high mileage or whatever, it's been tested, at least it's been driven. But be careful, not careful, just to make sure that we put an extended warranty for hitting stuff that may come up.
Okay, other comment?
Okay, other comment?
You gotta pay a little bit, yes, it's gonna be, it's not free, it's definitely gonna be additional.
Like I said, we're not,
part of the truck will probably go is Jupiter Lab for the lab techs to take the samples and stuff to Jupiter. Other than that, it should be a round trip, less, cherry sensors to the fire department, but on the river area. Other than that, it should be right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And like I said, it has 85,000 miles. It's going to be 10 or 11 years. or something.
It's been baby.
It's been baby. And it's 5 liters big, it's not a V6.
So a rhetorical question.
So a rhetorical question, because one of the things that we have to, as in terms of our legislative responsibility, is to make sure that we ensure the safety of our employees. So I'll ask a rhetorical question. The truck, the one at Mullinax is the one with the 85,000 miles on it? Alpaca, with the one with 85,000 miles on it? Right.
Okay, so
Okay, so,
at
okay.
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 So the question is.
So the question is that truck better than the two trucks that we are trying to kind of surplus out? Yeah. Okay. All right, thanks. Other?
Three trucks.
Okay.
Two GMCs and,
So we're looking at $9,500.
So we're looking at $9,500 because there's no taxes, and we'll probably get it 5, 10, 15, 20 years, just depends.
And we do have our.
And we do have our fleet, our trucks maintenance.
Okay, so they are serviced.
Okay, so they are serviced.
Alrighty, so neglect is.
Alrighty, so neglect is not an issue, right, because they are maintenance.
So we can spend
Right, and so we can spend $9,500, or we can get another new truck, budget for the next year, hold off and budget for the next year, and then add an additional 30-something thousand to the 95 we have to get a new truck. And I don't think we have that in the budget that we're looking to approve come next week. So that's where we are.
Questions, comments?
Questions, comments, additional questions or comments?
There is a request.
Because there is a request for a second truck that we need to attend to.
and like I said, that truck there is a lot better than most everything. Like I said, we have a 2000 GMC, a 2001 GMC, and the 2001 is, oh man, in the 95, we have a 1995 Dodge. So yeah, we have the newest one out of the three is a 2001.
And this truck here.
And this truck here is a 2010?
Alpaca?
Alpaca?
2010?
2010? Ooh, 85,000? Oh,
Low mileage.
I'm going to buy it.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
And it's, like I said, it's a 5 liter. It's a 5 liter
V8.
Oh, V8. Wow.
Wow.
We bought a boom truck.
We bought a boom truck, and maybe this will sort of crystallize it and finalize it. We bought a boom truck. What was the mileage on that? Okay. 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 Yeah, duly. Okay.
Alrighty, so if we could.
Alrighty, so if we could,
consider.
if we can kind of consider, so there's a request that we need to attend to, and that is for 2010 V8, 85,000 miles at Alpaca, that we just approved the purchase of the new truck. So what is your pleasure as it relates to the request for the purchase of truck 2, 2010 V8, for $9,500?
Is there a motion?
Is there a motion as it relates to that?
Over the budgeted amount for vehicles?
Good question.
Good question.
I didn't hear the question.
The question was, would it put us over the budgeted amount of $1,274?
So we need to have an amendment on that or something?
No, we identified it. If approved, we got it identified.
Are you motion?
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna move that we move forward with the purchase of the second vehicle from Alpaca.
Has been properly moved and
Has been
seconded.
properly moved and seconded. Are there any questions on the motion?
Any questions? on the motion?
Any questions on the motion?
Hearing none, roll call.
Hearing
please.
none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Green?
Yes.
Councilmember
Yes.
McConnell?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes. Yes.
Vice Mayor Johnson?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's hope it's.
Okay, let's hope it's still there. Okay.
Okay, thanks so much. We appreciate
Okay,
it.
thanks so much. We appreciate it. Okay.
Low mileage.
Yeah.
I got it.
Alrighty.
Alrighty, we're going to now go to our public comment. And just as information, Councilman Smith will step off the dais for just a moment. But we're going to go now to Section 8, our public comment. So what we're going to do, of course, if we still have persons who are attending with us online, we're going to allow for the 40-second delay. And if there's any comments from the public, we'll entertain those now.
45 seconds.
45 seconds. Okay.
We have great viewers.
Okay. Yeah, I fully understand your concern, but man, $85,000.
Well,
I don't value it.
I don't, those two trucks need to be gone. I mean, they've needed to be gone for a while.
And that was my main concern. What can we do we can't do anything to get rid of it at this point, so.
I mean, they've been.
Okay, thanks so much.
Okay, thanks so much. We've allowed the 45 seconds, and there's no comment from the public, so we'll close the floor to public comment. We'll now go to our reports. Ken?
Mayor and council, I've read your report in front of you.
Okay.
I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have, but I'll let you read it when you read it. Or answer any other questions about any topic that you may have.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments for the town manager? Any questions or comments?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Captain?
Okay, any
Okay,
questions? or comments?
any questions or comments for the captain?
Law enforcement?
Law enforcement?
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We'll continue on. Mitty? You have
Nothing
anything?
specific unless you have any questions of me. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay, thanks so much. So we'll now go to council comments. Councilman Green, you have anything?
Councilwoman Green?
Councilwoman Green?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 4, and I hope they will keep me busy after you all. Now, what I want to ask a question. I think I remember you said you had, when we received the report on opportunity zone, you said you were going to meet with Ms. Virginia Baker.
Okay, on October 7th, I've got a Zoom meeting. I don't know if Ms. Baker's gonna be involved or not, with Jonathan Brown from Housing. He'll be on that. I know he did speak to Ms. Baker about
October 7th,
October 7th.
and what is it in reference to?
Specifically the highlight and opportunity zones.
Because on John Zoom. So, we get the council, I'm sorry, I can't speak for the council. I want to know because I'd like to know, I could make, also,
Well, it's basically just on a staff level.
I don't know what we want to be on.
Yeah, it's just staff members. And also,
I don't care what it's about, I just ask, could we, going into it, I have to ask. I believe in profile, I told you that on time.
I think it would be better just to leave it with staff at this point, let us report back to you.
All you had, okay, that's exactly that one. And the other one, the letter, I told you, Mr. Mayor, that we received on opportunity zones, I said, I wanted to, also make the residents aware of that, because when you said, Mr. Mayor, you'd like to know, the council would like to know what I was on hand in the letter. But I've gone through and spoke to Mr. Metcalf and read it again. I don't even want to change anything in it. I don't know what the council wanted to change anything in it. I was going to ask the council, could I just go on and print the letter up as it is? So everybody has a
Okay, I'm going to defer just a minute to our attorney and the town manager, but basically is that anything that's going out representing the town or the council should receive council input and approval?
You said to me before I printed the letter, it had to come from the council.
Correct, which I just stated.
So I said, it's the letter, just as it is, I'm asking the council. I know I had asked the attorney. Is the letter approved, or do you all, is it okay with you all, if the letter goes out as it is? That's all I ask.
Okay, has all council reviewed the letter that,
Everybody got a copy.
my question to council is, has all of the council reviewed the letter, for Ms. Green's request to review the letter?
Referencing opportunities on.
I said that I'm the one in the red line. He sent, the county sent the letter to Metcalf, and the Metcalf sent it to me, and I sent out all the, all of you all, because we discussed that meeting. Anyway, I'll ask you again next week. We don't have to waste time discussing it, I'll ask you again next week. So that everybody can. And the other one, I'm too much questions. And this is, I think it's a good one. I like to laugh about this one. Mr., I call him Mr. Seward.
Dr. Ruder?
Dr. Ruder? Dr. Ruder?
I just like to let the town know that, since everybody thought that it was remarked out, putting him out of business, Tony Dupree and his neighbor, cutting grass, his grass, Mr. Dupree is cutting grass. Mr. Booth has planted a beautiful plant in the square next to his factory. That's number one. And the reason I wanted to say that is because thanks to solid waste, little things, it just takes a little, one resident to do something good. And it started with Mr. Davis when he gave us the free plant. And believe it or not, I had an individual we were talking about, somebody put a whole lot of clippings. They had cut the tree, and they put the clippings on the grass because they didn't know where to put them. And when the followers picked them up, the grass had died. So I asked the person why they did it. They said, we didn't know where to put it. And I made them aware. I said, well, that's why solid waste is telling us to put the grass on the concrete, on your driveway. You know, don't put it on your pretty grass, it's kill the grass. The person said, I didn't know that. And that was the, to me, I was happy. Because that resident was trying to do what we are all trying to do. And that's clean up, start somewhere and cleaning up our town, Mangonia Park. And so I just wanted to let y'all know that. And because of that, I was walking my dog and another resident said that this is what brought your name up. And I think I told you, she said, are you the lady on the council? And I said, no, she wanted to know who to call about the grass. She didn't know who to call about code enforcement. And I said that to say, I asked the last council meeting, could I have the four departments, which I got, and when I said I have permission to put you all telephone numbers by them when we passed them out, which I got, yes. However, I'm waiting on just a two-line description from each one. So when someone gets ready to call about something that involves fire, police, and two women to make that. Fire, public, and code enforcement. That's the most important one, I know you. And I just want a paragraph, so when we put them back in the email, they will know. And the reason this is important, because I'm gonna say it again, the only reason we're doing this is until the web page is up. And when I made that comment to a resident, the person said, we don't have a web page. Now, that's what the person said, we don't have a web page, which we do. But it's been down so long, they don't know that we have one under construction, and it will be up soon. And once the web page is up, these things, the residents will be now in the know, and they will know where to go when they have a question to the web page. I just want to let you all know what the last one is, whatever it is.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am, I'm through. I think.
I asked the staff this question. What website availability does the town have at this time?
We have a website. Council has made a decision to go with a new vendor to build a new website. So, but we do have one. It is.
It is available to residents. It does have information available.
It is. The old one that Mark created some years ago, that's the one that's down. Not as used, but the most recent one is up.
And the address for it is the same town of Magnolia Park?
No, TOMPFL.com.
And all that information's on there already, right? I mean, that's what we.
When you're down in this webpage, it still says it's under construction.
There?
Not for TONPFL.com. The old one is
Okay.
TONPFL.com.
Right.
Okay, I'm good with you.
Alrighty. Now, one of the things,
We have to,
I guess, get a hold of whomever the web hosters are, because there may be some out there, and I think there may be one out there, one that was being built or
came obsolete a long
time ago, still out there. So if somebody just types in their search engine, Town of Magnolia Park, it may pull up one of the non-functioning ones, but we have a functioning website. So the official one is at the address there. So we have to try and figure out how we can clean up everything else and just have that one out there.
I'm sorry. I had four, I thought I had five. This last, my last comment, and this one is about, this is why I want to know. Magnolia Park is an industrial area. And right now, what I wanted to do, what I'm trying to do, is all of us work together and start small, but clean up our town. And starting with the industrial area. I don't know how many of you all have been in an industrial area, but when they say industrial area, they think you're talking about the hill section. And that's a sore spot with me. And it goes back 10 years, a long ways back to me, when scripts came, and they were looking for industrial areas for spin-offs to, nobody wanted to go into our industrial area.
That's not true. That's not true.
Our industrial area is what our town is known for. So I think any business that wants to relocate in the Magnolia Park, that's where we get our revenue. We need to be trying to get as many businesses to locate into Magnolia Park. And people want to go the other way, they don't want to come here. And our bid is supposed to be drawing card is our industrial area. And the industrial area is the worst, and I'm gonna say it, and I don't care if we only have 3 people on Zoom, Facebook, whatever. It's the worst drawing card. And I don't know how many of y'all go driving through there or not. But I don't want people to think that they want to come and dump somewhere, they want to come to Magnolia Park. They don't want to, I don't want you to come and dump in our industrial area. I want our industrial area. I look at Lake Park's industrial area. I look at Riviera Beach industrial area, believe it or not, is at the entrance to the city. That's an industrial area. When you look at our industrial area, it's not even an industrial area. So that's my focus as a council person. I'm not looking for the town manager to do all the work. I'm looking for the council and the town manager and all of us to work together to do something to clean up the town. And I think we need to, one of the places we need to start is in the industrial area. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, for giving me the money.
Okay. Alrighty, Ken?
One quick comment to that, and I'll just say that during the evaluation process, I got some really good feedback from council about code enforcement, and some of you did point out the industrial areas, so I take it to heart. I do hear you, so I think that was pretty consistent throughout the evaluation. So, Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, all righty.
McConnell?
McConnell?
Nothing.
Councilman
Okay.
Smith?
Councilman Smith?
Good.
Vice Mayor?
Okay, Vice Mayor?
I'm sorry, I was just looking at our town website and just seeing all the information listed there. Hopefully that everybody is taking advantage of what is available online. Pardon me?
Okay.
Okay, you want to share? Okay.
All right, Vice Mayor?
All righty, Vice Mayor?
Prayer walk. We have been talking about prayer walk this meeting. And I understand it's being scheduled for this coming Friday morning at 7.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're gonna follow the same procedures as before. Meeting in the same parking area, which is on the west side of the plaza, shopping plaza, and the Dorado Community Center. We want to have our posters ready to let the community know that we have a concern for peace and safety. And they go to the park in the whole country. So, just want to make sure everybody's aware that we will be doing our prayer walk once again. I have some friends that are just waiting for the okay to make sure everything's going to go. We would like for all the residents of the town that can be available Friday morning, come with us and just walk those few blocks. Just pray for our community, pray for peace, pray for safety.
Ready?
Ready, just,
Okay.
Okay.
We only have 3 people that are tuning into the meeting. So how are you going to get the information out to the residents?
Started this thing, taking care of other town
I didn't know, that's why I asked you the question.
Go ahead.
We're distributing little information, I think that started going out today. And now go to the hill section tomorrow.
Okay. All righty.
And also,
No.
we went out to Bryn Mawr today because we got another notification to get out to Bryn Mawr. So we added that with it. It'll go to the hill section. And,
This is for the fast back?
yes, ma'am.
Oh, I didn't get one.
We went out like they said about it. If not, then I'll.
Okay.
Okay. All righty, okay.
Anything else?
So, anything else?
Okay. All righty,
Okay.
and just as.
All righty, and just as information, I won't be able to attend. I was unaware, and that begins my work week,
Too late to read.
and it's too late to request, so.
Would love to,
I would love to,
love to,
yeah, I would love to,
be there.
I would love to be there, so, but,
my apologies.
my apologies in advance. Okay?
So, thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Okay.
And remember to
Yeah,
put in
and remember to put in 35.
35.
I'll be 35.
35.
35, and I'm not moving, so, okay.
And
Yeah,
some.
well, and some, but 35.
Righty,
Okay.
and I have
Righty,
nothing.
and I have nothing other
Just,
than, just,
as it relates to-
as it relates to,
The industrial area.
the industrial area, and comments with notwithstanding, in terms of Councilwoman Green, there are some items, some areas all over the town, in every segment of the town, that can be corrected to help make it more beautiful.
That's in
Right, and that's in
every
every quadrant of the town, no exemptions whatsoever. There are some spots everywhere. But as it relates to our industrial, one of the things that has happened over the years is that, believe it or not, Mangonia Park is attractive to others. Having had been on the Scripps Advisory Committee, Advisory Board for years, whenever incubator businesses was looking at relocating and so forth, and that's what I guess Councilwoman Green was alluding to about the Scripps issue. We drove through and there was identified,
They were looking for.
they were looking for certain space, they were looking for certain other things to happen. The expansion that we had hoped that would have happened under Governor Bush's directive, as it relates to that, simply didn't happen. the economy fell, a whole lot of things happened.
And then we don't own any
property. The council, the town itself, we don't have any property. So everything was subject to private vendors, private owners, making a decision, yes, I'll do this. But we have a bioscript overlay here in town. In certain areas of the town, there's bioscript overlays. So we did attend to that. And businesses come all the time into our industrial area. One of the most beautiful buildings in all of Palm Beach County, Brinks, is in our industrial section.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Are there some improvements? Yes, needed, yes. Yes.
But people do.
But people do, they come. We're one of the most business-friendly towns there is. So with that, if there's nothing else, then we're gonna, very quickly.
One of our listeners texted me, I couldn't find a working website for the town.
Okay, for that listener?
www.tompfl.com.
Again, that's
www.tompfl.com. And that should take you to the new website that is currently up and operational. Thanks, we appreciate it. And if you have any questions, feel free to give the town manager a call at 848-1235, and they'll assist you with the access to that. And we really appreciate your attendance, and we would desire to be a part of all of the decisions that are made. Thank you so much to that viewer.
Isn't this included in all of the agendas that have been published for the town? So it's on the agenda, published and printed and set out on emails or whatever the process is sending out. Capacity, it's been available.
Certainly.
To all residents. www.tompfl.com.
So what we'll do.
So what we'll do then, and what we can also do, if it's not already on the water bill, perhaps we can just start printing on the water bill as well.
Righty,
So with that being said, and there's nothing else for the good of the order?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, so there has been a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Pose same sign. It is carried. I thank so much, we appreciate it, and thank you so much for your attendance as well. Have a good evening. Okay, everybody.
Safe.
Okay, have a great evening.
You too, thank you, sir.
Okay, all right, everybody?
Safe.
All right, so plan to drive the truck. I'm driving the new one. McConnell and Smith drive the used one.
As long as it's going to spend the warranty on it.
And a dash.
I don't have a problem with it.
It has a dash.
That's all I need. I can make it happen.
That one guy, he loves that dog.
That's Art. Art, yeah. He may want to buy it, but we said, but then we have to take a look at what our,
He loves that dog.
we have to look at what our surplus policy is. If we can move it out, we sign off on this, it's as is, no harmless.
I make sure it's.
He may want to buy it. He liked it. Now we could do this, we'd have to take it off.
It's not nasty.
There are times people drive, you know how to drive.